Hello, and welcome to the first ever, and maybe the last ever, online presentation of Commercial Carrier Journal's Technology and Maintenance Career Leadership Award. Each year, this award recognizes someone who has shown dedication, professionalism, and excellence in the fleet maintenance management segment, and this year's honoree is no exception. Under more normal circumstances, CCJ's Career Leadership Award is presented in person the Sunday before the Technology and Maintenance Council's big annual meeting and expo with a really nice dinner and a reception that honors both the annual honoree and honorees of years past. This year, with TMC transitioning its spring gathering online, we followed suit. Speaking of suits, I'm surprised this one still fits. After being under house arrest for the last, say, year plus, I've put on a little quarantine 15 times, several. Anyway, this year's honoree is Robert Braswell, Executive Director of the Technology and Maintenance Council. Robert, to my knowledge, is the first ever honoree to receive this award that doesn't have any direct fleet maintenance experience, but he's certainly more than worthy of distinction. I invite all of you to hang with us for a bit, especially those of you who are unfamiliar with our normal event, as we tell the story of Robert Braswell and honor him with what many consider an induction into the Maintenance Persons Hall of Fame. Robert Braswell is a man of many talents, or as he calls it, a jack of all trades, yet a master of none. He's a capable shade tree mechanic, an award-winning journalist, and at one point pursued a career as a physician. But it was the trucking industry that eventually would win over his full-time attentions. The son of a marble and tile tradesman, it was on construction sites where Robert first fell into trucking, quite literally.
It was an International A120. We actually still have it on the farm here. And it basically was a delivery vehicle. It was a Metro van. And I remember he was interesting, about safety rules and all of that, right? So this is a 63 Metro van. It had a place for one seat. I had a fold-up lounge chair basically for a seat. I remember going up, we went up a hill, and this was not on our highway at this point, but we went up a hill, and I remember going all the way to the back, landing in a pile of sand, and I'm thinking, well, that was fun. Looking back on it, it's like that. I guess that was my first foray into supplemental restraint devices, I suppose.
I think International puts seatbelts now on their trucks for this very reason. This was probably a case study for seatbelt usage for one of TMC's recommended practices. Robert says he's always been interested in cars and trucks, having spent his entire life around equipment in one form or another. But by the time he'd enrolled in the University of Maryland, he turned his career interest toward chemistry, microbiology, and pre-med. Robert's a self-professed tinkerer, and even a full course load of science couldn't keep a tinkerer out of the garage.
In college, I would go to college during the day, and on the weekends I'd work at a service station. And we would do tire work, oil, lube, and filter, take home, put off, preventive maintenance. And I always was interested in it. I always liked to fix up old cars. Me and my dad had a lot of projects working on old trucks and cars. A number of them we still have in our collection, actually. And it was not a difficult jump for me, being interested in things mechanical and engineering versus the formal training that I had at school. And one of the things is you got free lift time, so. After hours, you could use the lift and work on your own vehicles. And I always had older vehicles that needed work anyway, so that was a bonus. Plus, I got very used to the fact there was a 40% discount on parts. And that was a nice bonus, too.
Robert's passion for cars and trucks would eventually lead him away from pre-med, and he set his sights on a career with some of the industry's highest profile automotive magazines. He briefly made a tour of the local journalism circuit in an effort to build enough clips to impress the editors of the likes of Road and Track and Car and Driver.
One thing led to another. I did get a job on a short-term basis. I ended up winning on an editorial award. Kind of got the journalism bug. So I did that for a couple of years. I won an award from the Maryland, D.C., Delaware Press Association for a series of articles I did. Because I always enjoyed writing. I was in an honors program at University of Maryland. I was in honors programs in high school. Writing was always something I enjoyed doing and was pretty good at. I was told I could take technical to complex thoughts and communicate it pretty effectively. So that was the strength. So I decided to do that for a while, just to have my hand on it. I had it in my mind that I wanted to be a writer for Road and Track magazine or Car and Driver or something like that. Not really understanding at all what it's like to be a writer for a magazine like that. But I figured, well, you got to get some clips somewhere, so I started with the local newspaper. That led to another job with the chain of papers in the Washington, D.C. area. And then that led to another job as a medical writer, believe it or not. I ended up writing for I don't know if you're familiar with the outfit. It used to be called Capital Cities ABC, right? That was the parent of ABC Television.
Robert eventually found his way to the American Trucking Associations, but not for the reasons you might think. The lure of driving some of Italy's finest sports cars for Road and Track or Car and Driver was still Robert's brass ring.
I got the idea that maybe I could get a job with Transport Topics. Well, they didn't want me, but they said there was a group at ATA, American Trucking Associations, that might be of interest to me, called at that time the Maintenance Council. And I applied for the information manager job, and I was hired.
I think it's great how casually Robert mentions how he applied with Transport Topics, and he says, they didn't want me. Robert, if it makes you feel any better, 20 some odd years ago, I applied at Road and Track, and they didn't want me either. After 2 interviews and a writing test, Robert was hired as TMC Information Manager by then TMC Technical Director Carl Kirk and TMC Executive Director Bill Tracy, with responsibilities for the group's magazine, newsletters, and technical journal, among other things. He was given opportunities to develop educational sessions for the association's meetings and work on projects beyond the tasks that were his core function. Always capable behind the microphone, Robert was also able to hone his public speaking, a skill that would prove helpful in running and preparing large national meetings. Robert served as information manager from 1992 to 1994 when he was named Assistant Technical Director, a job he pursued because he had a growing interest in the technical side of the business. About a year and a half later, he was promoted to Technical Director, where he served from 1996 until 2017. Since 2017, Robert has served as the group's Executive Director.
I think one of the things that anybody at TMC does is that we help our members more quickly and more efficiently accomplish the goals that they themselves have for themselves. We help give them voice to groups that may not be listening, whether it's the government or whether it's manufacturers or whether it's any segment of industry. Maintenance is usually pretty low on the totem pole, pretty low down the ladder, unfortunately. It's a cost center. It's something you have to do. It's certainly not something that's celebrated. Nobody wants to celebrate the fact they have to do maintenance. But there's a lot of knowledge. There's a lot of important decisions that are made on the shop floor by vice presidents of maintenance, directors of maintenance, and it's important.
When Robert first started at TMC, he was one of the first people in the council that even had an email address, and he helped set up the first website for TMC, which was one of only about 2 websites within all of ATA in 1993. A lot has changed over the past 30 years. TMC has since grown beyond what it was originally, which was a Class 7 and 8 technical group, to cover just about every kind of piece of equipment that you can think of, light, medium, and heavy duty, and even a little off-highway. What's also changed is how TMC seeks to spread its message of maintenance to the industry. Robert and TMC have both shared the spotlight on Sirius XM radio for the past 16 years, which is about 780 shows with Dave Nemo.
And we happened to be in Nashville at the time for our 2004 fall meeting. And we were invited to come over to the studios as a guest for the day. So my general chairman and I, Dave Rahuric, went over there and went to Dave's studios, which were then in National when he had just started doing Sirius XM. It was a house. It wasn't a studio. It looked like they like to say it looked like the combination of Star Trek and Mayberry. It was grandma's house with all the toys and whistles you would think of for broadcasting a major radio show. And we spent about 3 hours there and co-hosted the program with them. And then we thought that was great and then didn't hear anything else for 6 months. And next thing you know, I get a call from Dave Newman saying, "Hey, how would you like to be a permanent co-host on a regular segment? We'll call it Tech Talk with TMC." And it's kind of like a click and clack for heavy duty trucks. And I said, sure, why not? And so from there, I started co-hosting the show and producing the segments, booking the guests and so forth. And it's been a really good partnership ever since. We reach an audience that we wouldn't ordinarily reach, as you mentioned, primarily owner-operators, company drivers, but there are fleets and other segments of the industry. We even get folks called into the show that aren't even in trucking because they have an interest in the topic. But we've been doing that since 2005. June of 2005 was our regular series when we started.
Robert told me that editing and compiling TMC's various RPs over the last nearly 30 years was like going to graduate school for maintenance. That certainly comes across in his radio show. It's sort of like a master's class on XM radio. And I'm really not the only one that's noticed it.
I've done a tremendous amount of tech talks with him on XM radio with the Dave Nemo show. And Robert, and with his TMC experience and what he does there, and seeing him do that for many, many years. And at times when we do tech talk, his understanding of mechanical knowledge, although he may not have the hands-on experience as a lot of the fleet managers do that have previously won the awards, Robert is probably one of the smarter guys that understands all of the red book, so to say. So there's no question in my mind, if Robert ever changed careers and wanted to manage an operation, he would not have to learn all the recommended practices and all the things that we're supposed to do. He would have to just pick up and understand probably technicians more on a day-to-day basis in the internal structures of trucking companies. And that would probably be the only thing that he would have to pick up and learn.
One of Robert's more recent passions is the gamification aspect of technician recruitment. He, along with TMC, wants to be able to reach school-aged children with positive messaging about the career opportunities that trucking has for students who enjoy working with their hands.
It's too late by the time to get to high school. So middle school, junior high school, that's the target audience if you want to reach out and connect to tactile learners at a point in their lives when they still can be influenced and say, that's something I want to pursue as a career. And gamification is a tool to do that. Smartphones, games, a very big part of young folks' lives. And, if we have a message to share, we need to do it where they live, so to speak. And gamification offers that opportunity. We're certainly not trailblazers in this sense. We're kind of just bringing up the rear when it comes to this. A lot of other industries have been doing this for quite some time and successfully. So we need to play catch up.
To gamify the experience, TMC developed and deployed an app that puts users in the shop with the responsibility of maintaining a small fleet. Users who are successful can earn rewards that can be used to change the look of their vehicles and advance their skills.
It's a game that takes you in as a trainee technician and works you through all these different levels. I think there's 15 levels in the game, and you can work your way all the way up to owning your own shop. And along the way, you get to learn about opportunities on how you could become a diesel technician in the real world, and some scholarship opportunities and schools that you can look into and so forth. And we think that's really the future in terms of reaching that new audience.
As TMC's executive director, Robert rubs shoulders with some of the brightest technical minds in the industry. Men and women who understand how things work, why they sometimes don't, and can diagnose and triage downtime before a lot of people could click the home button on Road and Track's website. Robert says he's never been intimidated leading an organization comprised with such expertise, and sees himself as the bridge between what Derry Stewart, whom we just heard from, calls doctors of iron and doctors of data.
Robert really does understand the wrench side. And again, he may not have he has not had the experience of running to a 300, 400 truck fleet, but he does understand the mechanical aspect of it. And again, the red book, the TMC recommended practice book. So, and he has a personality that can blend not only with corporate people, obviously with ATA, but also getting down with the technicians on the floor at when we do the fall meeting at the Super Tech. So he really understands that.
Robert, I just wanted to say congratulations on you receiving the CCJ Career Leadership Award. What an honor and well-deserving. Your attention to detail, your execution, your vision for our industry has been unbelievable. Robert, congratulations again, and hope to see you in September at TMC.
On behalf of ATA, Robert, I'd like to congratulate you on being named the recipient of CCJ's prestigious Career Leadership Award. While you're the 45th recipient of the award, you're the first non-fleet representative, which speaks volumes to the great job you do overseeing TMC. Day in and day out, your leadership skills and vision for the organization are simply immeasurable. The fact that you'd be honored with this award, which I gotta assume you're probably one of the youngest to receive the award as well, just goes to show the tremendous influence you have on this industry. And I know that you're a pretty humble guy and not big on accepting awards in front of large groups of people. So perhaps this speaks to your organizational skills that you somehow managed to receive the award in the midst of a pandemic, thereby ensuring there'd be no annual banquet. So you don't have to get up in front of everybody and give a big speech. I mean, that's really impressive. Congratulations again. It's an honor so well deserved. It's been great working with you these last 4 years, and I look forward to working with you many more years in the future.
Robert, on behalf of CCJ and the past recipients of this honor, I offer you our sincere congratulations. Past honorees of this award were very passionate about your nomination this year and adamant about your recognition. I think that's a strong testimony to how much they value your service to this industry. When an elite group like the CLA recipients wants you in their club, that says a lot about you. I look forward to gathering with all of you in person eventually and celebrating what Robert and the past CLA recipients have done and continue to do for the trucking industry.
I've known probably most of the folks that have gotten this award over the years. Very, very privileged to know them. It has always been something that has been given to fleet maintenance professionals. I don't consider myself a fleet maintenance professional. I have been in the business of helping fleet maintenance professionals for a long time. And to the extent that the work that I've done in partnership with a lot of other people, because we certainly don't do things in isolation at TMC. We always do them in consensus in a collaborative sense. But if that has made an impression and has been meaningful and advanced the art and science of maintenance in this industry, I'm very humbled by that, and I certainly take it with the spirit it's intended. I would like to thank all of the folks that welcomed me into an industry. That served as mentors, the folks that first hired me, Carl Kirk, Bill Tracy, just two that immediately come to mind. They gave me an opportunity to put down roots in an industry and grow and make an opportunity to not only do a lot of good things for the industry, hopefully, but also have a career that's allowed me to raise a family and see two kids through college. Hopefully, and both interested in engineering-like careers, so we're very excited about that. I just, I look forward to continuing to serve this industry. That's what it's about.